Last story for today I want to hit, and this was actually, I want to share something with you. I get many emails and messages of various kinds. Actually, there are too many sources of messages. Sometimes I find them, I didn't even know they were there in all these places on the Facebook and on the internet. But a message from a listener, I want to just tell you briefly what she asked and talk about it. I'm not going to have enough time today to get through the whole point of it, but I want to raise it because I think it's a really, really good point. I often say in the show, I make the reference to the idea America is a Judeo-Christian nation. I had somebody on YouTube comment, no, we're not a Judeo-Christian nation. We have freedom of religion, as though those two things were opposites. Secondarily, I had a woman who wrote me an email, sweetest email, started out with, I love your show. Okay, that was my favorite line in the whole email. I love your show. Something's bothering me. I'd love to have your thoughts. You talk about Christianity and religion. You seem to limit your ideas to Christianity and Judaism. I believe that one of the things that makes this country great is the fact that every religion or non-religion is accepted. You don't have to believe in God to be an American. And then she said she's an atheist. Then she goes on to what happened to separation of church and state. I am so glad this woman wrote this email. I'm going to hit a few high points of my response. I'm also going to post on our website my more detailed response to this question, because these are really, really important ideas to grasp as you recognize how radically the American left would destroy this country, is on the path to destroying this country, and most especially very willing to destroy freedom of religion. To start with the second question first, separation of church and state. That provision, that language, separation of church and state, does not exist in the Constitution. It does not exist in the Declaration of Independence. It does not exist in the Federalist Papers. It is not a term that is actually a founding idea of America. But it's also true that the founders wanted to have a nation that did not have, like they had in England, where they're from. The Church of England was the official Church of England, and it was the government too. It was the official religion of the country of England. Our founders did not want that. They wanted very much to not have a Church of America, a Christian Church of America. They did not want to choose among the denominations then available or any other one they could think up to say America is going to be a, Baptist nation or Lutheran nation. They didn't want to do that. There's no official religion of America. This is a great thing. But the ideas our founders came up with, the ideas behind the Declaration, the ideas reflected in the Federalist Papers, the ideas behind the Constitution, one of the core ideas is that man, meaning men and women, man, each of us, simply because we were born, have the right to live in liberty. We have the right to live in freedom. We have God-given rights, as the Declaration of Independence recites in the beginning. We have God-given rights, rights from our Creator, which include life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We have the Bill of Rights that says you have these rights. You have the right, freedom of assembly and speech and religion and all sorts of things spelled out in the Bill of Rights. That concept comes from the Scriptures. That idea that simply each individual, because you were born, has God-given rights, it comes from the Scriptures. It's a Judeo-Christian value. Many of the values of the Scriptures found their way into the ideas that created America. So when I say we're a Judeo-Christian nation, we obviously don't force religion on anyone. The government doesn't even care what religion you are. You can change every day. No one's going to punish you. But the ideas behind America, and including the ideas the founders had as they wrote about what they were trying to do in creating America, come from the Scriptures. They come from the ideas that you have rights as an individual, as a child of God, as a creation of God, just because you were born. It's a profoundly important idea that, number one, protects everyone, including this woman who wrote me this lovely email and said she's an atheist and she'd like to hear or wants to hear that I don't view that as invalid. And to be very clear, this is the beauty of having the Judeo-Christian ideas behind the founding of America, because you actually have individual freedom. You are free to be an atheist. You're free to be any other religion you choose. And you're free to explore your religion and live your religion and practice your religion and teach it. That is and you're free to be an atheist and teach your children to be atheists. That comes from the Judeo-Christian scriptures. Unlike, for example, in the religion of Islam. In Islam, there is no freedom of religion. It's a great contrast. America, freedom of religion for everyone. Every Muslim country founded on the Quran and following Sharia, there is no such thing as freedom of religion. Literally, the government will kill you for the crime of apostasy if you decide, I don't want to be Muslim anymore. I changed my mind. I want to be Christian. I want to be whatever it is. You can't change your mind. You can't leave your faith. There's no freedom of religion in Sharia. And so I think for a lot of people, the idea of having America having no official religion meant we have no religious values behind our ideas, but we do. And those religious ideas protect everyone. Unlike in Muslim countries, where literally people are stoned to death for even saying anything that sounds like you don't respect Allah or Muhammad or some Islamic cleric, you're put to death for that. And in communist countries, countries founded on the idea of communism, they are all about demanding that the government be God. This is why communist and socialist countries crack down on religious freedom so harshly, is because the government needs to be the controller of you in communist countries. The government must tell you what to think. It must tell you your values. It must tell you what's right and wrong. You must never question the government. Thinking people reserve unquestioning faith, that concept, religious people do, to the idea of God. The Chinese Communist government punishes Christians because they can't stand the idea, they cannot control what those people believe in, what they think, the values they hold, what they stand for, when those people, the idea of their identity and their rights comes from their faith in God. It is why communist countries endlessly kill pastors, kill priests, kill Christians, burn down churches, arrest Christians, because they need the people to have that sense of absolute reverence for the government instead of for the God they love. I'm going to get back to this topic another time because there's much more to it. I'm going to post with that, very much obviously leaving out this writer's name, but post my response to her because they gave her some ideas to think about. But it's important to recognize the left in this country wants very, very, very much for Americans to think that we have a country founded on separation of church and state. The left, the radical left in this country, they are already socialist. They are kissing cousins with the socialist countries, which are in turn kissing cousins with the communist countries. The left in this country is already way down the path of demeaning the place of religion in our country. They very much want Americans to think that the Constitution was really all about separation of church and state, and that is a fallacy from which the left deprives power.